Hi guys, Riley here. Today's video is not going to be a vlog. I know, shocking. I've figured out something else to do with my time. Today I'm going to make 3 kinds of simple syrup and show you how, because we're in quarantine, which means obviously you can't go get coffee. And I don't know about you, but I kind of like flavored coffee from time to time. I've been known to get a shot of vanilla in my lattes. I've enjoyed hazelnut before. I'm partial to peppermint during the winter season, but also anytime really. So I am gonna make some at home, which I've been doing pretty regularly since we've started this because I've got really good at making coffee at home. I feel like a lot of us probably have, but I'm not sure everyone really knows how to make simple syrup or how truly simple it is. I do wanna say that we are going to be making simple syrup with real sugar because I hate not nutritive sweeteners. The only one I'll eat is stevia. However, I just think actual sugar tastes far better in coffee than non-nutritive counterparts. So I'm not going to be addressing how you would make anything sugar-free for a simple syrup. I'm sure there are recipes out there if that's what you enjoy or what you're partial to. But personally, just drinking real sugar is preferred for me. However, if you do usually use non-nutritive sweeteners and you don't have a reason for doing so, I would encourage you to take a long look at your reasons why and maybe consider the fact that you might be a little bit afraid of sugar. If you are, I've been there, I feel you, but introducing these fun flavors into my daily life in the form of coffee has been a really good way to look at that fear in the face and say, no, I'm gonna caffeinate myself and I'm gonna do it with real sugar because I want to. Yeah, without further ado, let's make some simple syrup. Okay, so I've decided to do 3 kinds. I'm gonna do vanilla, coconut, and peppermint. You don't need to flavor your simple syrup. You can just do a classic sugar simple syrup, and that'll be ideal for coffees just because you won't end up with any granulated sugar in the bottom. Specifically, if you like iced beverages, you're gonna deal with that. So that's why I would make a simple syrup over just using sugar and especially iced coffee. First, I'm gonna label these jars. These are just peanut butter jars. And I'm gonna be making a 1/2 cup of each because I couldn't drink any more than that. And I'm already gonna have a hard time drinking all of these down anyways. But that's what we're gonna do first. So I'm gonna go ahead and label the lids. Alrighty, so we have our jars labeled, and now we are gonna fill up the jars with sugar and water. And what makes simple syrup special is that you're dissolving equal parts sugar and water. And this becomes a super saturated solution, which is where chemistry plays in a little bit, which is where I nerd out because I love chemistry. By forming a supersaturated solution, we're gonna heat it up, which is gonna allow more sugar than would normally be soluble in cold water to go into solution, meaning that it will become liquid, it will dissolve. Whereas normally, if you just put a 1/2 cup of sugar and a 1/2 cup of water in this jar, it would never get all the way dissolved. Whereas if you heat it up, it happens super quickly. Let's get to measuring out some amounts and ingredients. First, we're gonna start with coconut. I'm just using Wegmans white sugar, granulated, nothing special. So pour your sugar in. So now that we have a 1/2 cup of sugar in all of our jars, we're gonna add a 1/2 cup of water. And fair warning, it's gonna look like this will never actually dissolve because the water's cold that we're putting in right now, meaning not much of the sugar is gonna wanna go into solution. But as we heat that up, that'll change. Here's 3. Okay, now that we have 3 jars full of water and sugar, I feel like I'm 3 years old and wanna shake these really hard, so I'm gonna do that. It looks like a snow globe. That's funny. Okay, so starting with coconut, now we're gonna add our extracts. If you choose to do so, again, you can just, at this step, heat it up and it'll become simple syrup just fine. But we're gonna start with coconut, like I mentioned, and we are gonna do a 1/2 tablespoon. And when it comes to this bit, the amount that you add is truly arbitrary. You can add however much or however little you feel appropriate. Last time we were at the store, my dad bought 2 things of vanilla, an organic one that was labeled premium and just a normal one, because he decided that we were going to pit them against each other and put them to the test. And I was like, how are we going to do that? And he was like, drink them. And I was like, that's a horrible idea. Anecdotes. The funny thing about the vanilla one is it's legitimately just going to look like urine when we get done here. Like, it already kind of does. But in the cup, like in the fridge, it's clear, obviously, when it's done, completely see-through, and it just straight up looks like dehydrated urine. Last but not least, peppermint. Sugar doesn't smell like anything, so that just smelled like water, and it's really odd. I did a science fair experiment in 7th grade where I drank a ridiculous amount. This is thick. Maybe we're gonna do a little less than half a tablespoon. Yeah. Where I just drank sugar water to see if it had an effect on my blood pressure. It didn't, but oh man, I choked down so much plain sugar water. Like, there was at some point a time when I was drinking 100 grams of sugar dissolved in a cup of water. Yikes. So, anyways. And now we are gonna go boil these. I think I'm gonna try something a little different though. I'm gonna do a water bath and see if I can avoid just like completely taking these apart. Obviously though, I'm gonna take the lids off. So maybe I should label the sides because I don't wanna build any pressure or anything. That'd be bad. We're not trying to can these. I just have a maybe like 3-inch deep saucepan that I'm gonna heat up to like, not a boil, but pretty hot. But before that, I'm gonna put my jars in and I'll show you how I do that. Here are all of my syrups in the saucepan. I might add a little bit more water, but I added a teaspoon into all of these just so that I could continually stir them to prevent any burning. I'm not totally sure if they would actually burn because they have a layer of metal and glass between the sugar and the heat, but you know, better safe than sorry. We have it. There's our simple syrups all done. I'm going to wait until these are all cooled down and then I'm going to give you some ideas about recipes to use them in. All right guys, here we have it. 3 jars of simple syrup ready to be added to coffee. So as promised, I'm going to give you some ideas of how to incorporate these not only into coffee recipes but into other recipes as well. So here's what I've kind of thought of and also found online of some great ideas that I'd love to try. So the first one obviously is to substitute it whenever you're in need of a liquid sweetener. Obviously the texture or viscosity is going to be a little bit different depending on how much sugar to water you add. However, if you do have a recipe that calls for maple syrup, agave, or any other kind of liquid sweetener, and you don't have that on hand, there is a way you could substitute simple syrup, and it's a cool way to add unique flavors to a baked good. The second option is hot cocoa, and I was really thinking about the peppermint for hot cocoa, especially around Christmas time, but honestly, vanilla and coconut sound really good in hot chocolate as well. I think that this would just be a really decadent way to kind of take a hot cocoa to the next level. The third is obviously coffee. These will be fantastic in coffee, and peppermint in coffee is delicious, even without chocolate. Trust me on that. 4 is cocktails and mocktails. So if you are of age, these will be a great addition to any alcoholic beverage. Well, I shouldn't say that. Any cocktail. It's a cheap and easy way to flavor a drink without having to buy a flavored liquor. And actually the website that I got this recipe off of was just a liquor website. And they were advertising it specifically for use in cocktails. The third one is when you're candying fruit or nuts, which I've never personally done, but it's an option if you want it. Making sorbet is another option. That sounds fantastic. Adding some simple syrup and some frozen fruit, mixing it together in a food processor and freezing it, and you're gonna get a fantastic sorbet. I kind of want to do that with like raspberries and the coconut one. That sounds delicious. Pouring over poke cakes is another one, and poke cakes are those like sheet cakes you see where you like poke a hole in it with a chopstick or the back of a fork, and then you dump some sort of syrup over it so that it soaks into the cake and makes it really moist. And that's a fantastic way to use a simple syrup because you can flavor the simple syrup obviously however you want it. And then you get to bring a unique flavor to maybe a plain vanilla cake. And lastly, I think it'd be really cool to take maybe like a mint or even like a coconut and gently do a drizzle on a fruit salad and mix it up just to bring a little bit more flavor to the dish. It might not be what everyone wants or everyone's cup of tea, but that's a really cool way to add a unique flair to a dish that can be really bad, especially if you add bananas. Don't put bananas in fruit salad. They don't belong there. Anyways, I digress. So I really hope you guys enjoyed this video. It was actually a lot of fun to make and I really enjoyed the experience, and now I have a crap ton of simple syrup to use for all of my cooking desires and dreams. If you guys like this video, please give it a thumbs up, subscribe, you know the drill. I had a blast cooking with you, and if you like cooking videos or would like more videos like this, please let me know. I have tons of recipes and really easy throw together meal ideas too, and we could do some baking. Whatever you want, whatever is going to get you through this time. Thank you guys so much for joining in. I love you. I hope you're all staying safe and healthy, and I will see you in a bit. Bye.